And now at 10, we have breaking news in Riverside County, a mid-air collision involving at least one firefighting aircraft. Well, good evening, everyone. I'm Leslie Marin.
And good evening, everyone. I'm Ross Palumbo. This is KCAL News at 10, streaming live right now on KCALnews.com. That crash happened around 5 o'clock this afternoon, just south of Morongo Casino in Cabazon.
And this is in the area of Pipeline Road and Apache Trail, just south of the 10 freeway. Our KCAL News reporter Lori Perez joins us live from the scene. Lori, I know this is in a pretty remote area, but have you been able to talk to any officials there?
We have not yet been able to talk to any officials. The spokesman for CAL FIRE Riverside, I spoke to him about 45 minutes ago. He told me he was at the scene of the crash, trying to gather information to make sure he has everything right, and that he would be making his way out to speak with members of the media. He has not gotten out here yet. You can see here where we are, CHP is kind of blocking things off at that intersection you mentioned. And over in the back here, beyond here, about 3/4 of a mile, we understand from where we are standing, 3/4 of a mile down this dirt road, and then 3/4 of a mile southwest, southeast, I should say, is where this crash occurred. I know that we do have video. SkyCal was overhead to show the crash scene, and really there was not much to see, which I think could speak to the severity of this crash. I understand the propeller perhaps was able to be seen, and other than that, just kind of the burned ground. Of course, everyone around here, again, Morongo Casino is about just under a mile from here. We can see it from where we're standing. So there is a lot of traffic along these roads near here. A lot of eyewitnesses who saw it on social media, and people who started rolling on their cell phones. I know we have at least one video from someone who was on the roads who saw this occur and was able to see some of the smoke billowing up into the sky, knowing that that was the sign of something that had gone very wrong. As you said, our understanding is that it did involve at least one firefighting helicopter. We're trying to confirm that, and as well as trying to confirm what the other aircraft involved was. I will tell you, in the last 45 minutes, we have been watching as lots and lots of trucks have been coming in and out of this location. This is private land owned by the Morongo Land Trust. It is Native American property. It's private property, so we are not being allowed down there. We've been watching as ambulances, sheriff's deputies, cars, other first responders, CAL FIRE trucks have been coming in and out. In fact, right as we're speaking, some more cars, Riverside County fire trucks heading in there right as we speak. A lot of activity going on, a lot more questions, of course, about what exactly happened here. We are waiting. And I'll tell you also, we did see a truck marked Siller Helicopters Incorporated. That Siller Helicopters, of course, is one of the companies that supplies CAL FIRE with those contracted choppers that CAL FIRE uses in their extensive firefighting efforts. You know, it's a very busy, obviously, industry, and these helicopters are up very often doing lots of work. I had mentioned, I spoke earlier to the director of air operations for Colson Aviation. They're one of the other companies that contracts these choppers to CAL FIRE, and the director of operations there was explaining to me just how coordinated the efforts are when they are fighting fires from the air. There is one team specifically employed with making sure that everyone, all of the aircraft in the air, know exactly where everyone is. It's, as you can imagine, a very delicate and complicated ballet that they play because it's so intense. They're trying to get to these fires, and they're in the air. So it is a very intense job, but they're the best at it. They are very practiced, and he told me that this kind of crash, this kind of accident that it appears we are looking at, is extremely rare. He was heartbroken to hear about it, in fact. So we, again, are back here just waiting for the fire spokesman from CAL FIRE to get out here to tell us what he has learned and what he's able to share with us about what happened so far. But it will be, as you can imagine, a very long operation, a long investigation, many hours into the night, if not into tomorrow as well. Guys, back to you.
Yeah, Lori, you're mentioning just how the risks, right? We both have covered, all of us have covered wildfires there on the ground. And when you see these helicopters, they're able to maneuver in ways you don't normally see aircraft, right? They're able to get down lower than we normally see them. And it just, it's good to note that we still don't know how many people were on board or the injuries. But this is something, we see these helicopters out there all the time, and these people very seasoned at what they do.
Yeah, I mean, it's always very impressive, right, when we're covering these fires and we see the efforts. We see the choppers that go and pick up water and then drop water. We see others transporting firefighters that are embedded on the ground, picking them up and bringing them back, you know, bringing in new teams, all that exchange. You know, I used the word ballet earlier, and I think that's really appropriate, right, because it is a very coordinated dance of responding, replacing teams, and making sure that everyone's safe, and doing it, you know, in the air. It's very impressive, and I can imagine it comes with a lot of risk.
You know, Lori, I know you can't see our video from SkyCal, but all we can see that's left of this wreckage is the rotor. And our crew in SkyCal saying that it was simply obliterated. We don't know, but we haven't confirmed what it's collided with. Many are speculating that it may be another aircraft, but no confirmation of that yet. Is there any hope on the scene at all that there are survivors that were transported, or we still have no information on that?
Yeah, I mean, I do not have any confirmed information on that, and it's really hard to kind of gauge the mood because we are pretty far from where I understand the scene is. We're out here, you know, with one truck from CHP. So it's hard to gauge. Usually we can get a sense of how people are feeling. Certainly the first responders who we're nearby, we can see if they're kind of somber and that kind of thing. It's really hard to gauge at this point. I did see several ambulances leave earlier this evening. They did not have lights and sirens on, so they were not transporting anybody, I can tell you that. And so it's unclear at this point. Hopefully we can get some of those answers when the spokesman comes out.
Lori Perez on the ground in Cabazon. Lori, thank you so much. Of course, stay with KCAL News and CBS News Los Angeles for the very latest on this helicopter crash in Cabazon.
Also tonight, a police shooting in Pico Union.